What's going on, Nerds and Nerdettes? The DC Metal Nerd here. Some DCU news dropped earlier this week. We're going to take a look at some of the new information that dropped, including Gunn's next not-so-sequel, Superman sequel, a new Wonder Woman movie, as well as a new Superman trailer that dropped yesterday. I would greatly appreciate a like if you enjoy what I have to say. Being new and up and coming, it would really help the algorithm and allow me to continue providing you the best news and updates. Let's get into it. In a new interview with Entertainment Weekly, James Gunn reveals that in this world, humanity has been clued into the existence of metahumans for 300 years. He says if they saw one, it would be more like if you saw Paul McCartney on the sidewalk in New York. No. It's safe to say we are going to see a world that knows and understands of the existence of superheroes, metahumans, aliens, and beings, and we're likely not going to get any kind of origin for anyone except for possible flashbacks or a few details hinting at certain origins. Gunn goes on to confirm that Green Lantern's Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and Hawk Girl will go by the Justice Gang, which is super cringe in my opinion. The Justice Gang have essentially gone corporate, being led by Maxwell Lord, the head of Lord Tech, and one of multiple tech billionaires. He's confirmed that multiple billionaires seem to exist in this universe. This can pave the way for Ted Kord and Kord Industries, which you may know as the second Blue Beetle, Star Labs, and even Bruce Wayne's Batman, seemingly confirmed as already existing in this world. If Ted Kord exists in this world, we could likely bring in Xolo Maridueña as the current Blue Beetle in this universe.
God, you never asked. Hell yeah!
With Ted Kord being introduced in a possible sequel to Xolo's Blue Beetle, which would be sick. Continuing on, James Gunn reveals that in the film, Superman decides to save civilians caught in a conflict between Baravia and Jaranpur, fictional nations in DC Comics, which causes an international incident and earns him the ire of a White House that sees Superman as an American asset gone rogue. Sound familiar? I'm looking at you, BVS. Snyder is the blueprint. He goes on to say, Lex is connected to everything. There's nothing bad happening in Metropolis during this movie that doesn't have some connection to Lex Luthor, and reveals that Lex is more of a sorcerer of science, capable of engineering the most fantastical gadgets and technology to achieve his goals, which leads us to the figures in his orbit, specifically the Engineer. Sounds a lot like he had a hand in creating her, which could be an interesting dynamic between the two. James's take is, there's enough room in my heart for different ideas about the story of Superman, but they all have one thing in common. What if there was a Kryptonian who came to Earth and was here with us? What if we lived in that world? It's giant monsters, alien beings, interdimensional imps. There's things happening that are reality for this world that we're about to enter. That definitely sounds like the plot of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, but, that's just me. Can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it up a bit so it doesn't look obvious you copied. I find this to be almost a solid confirmation of Mr. Mxyzptlk, along with many other DC characters that likely already do exist in this universe. Metamorpho is confirmed to already be established, so no origin here, and he's more of a chess piece as he's being manipulated by Lex. You're in a situation where it's having to hurt someone, having to be an agent of the bad guy. And at the same time, there's a struggle to want to be good. What the film does brilliantly is it puts you in this situation of, oh, he has no choice. He has to be doing this, and you see how painful it is. A very interesting approach. I am more intrigued in seeing Metamorpho's story and origin more than anyone else in this world, and that's saying a lot. This was somewhat announced and confirmed earlier that Mr. Terrific would be either getting his own project or at least be included in future projects, as the actor, Edi Kategi, reveals Superman isn't the only project I'll be in. I'd be interested in seeing that for sure. Gunn confirms that Lanterns is halfway through filming, which is a great development as we've gotten absolutely nothing about Lanterns. Lantern crumbs, please. It has been confirmed that Guy Gardner will appear in Lanterns and has already filmed his consistently arrogant scene, which seems to be a small role. I can't wait to see that. When asked if Gunn is already thinking of a sequel, he responds almost coy with, what I'm working on is in some way, takes a pause. I mean, yes. But is it a straight up Superman sequel? I would not say necessarily. That sounds a lot like BVS, where Batman was introduced in a quasi sequel to MOS, or Man of Steel.
I want you to remember, the one man beat you.
Whoa! What? What? What?
so it would be safe to assume that a world's finest or team-up movie is something he's working on, but he did have this to say about Justice League. The most important thing is the specific stories, but there is also a much bigger story that we're telling that will take a little bit longer to tell. Talking about something he mentioned way back when he announced a DCU slate. If you can remember, it started with Gods and Monsters.
Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters.
And when asked if it could involve something that does justice to this league, he says, of course, but there is no Justice League in this world, not yet. Gunn reveals that Wonder Woman is currently being written, slow moving, but it's moving, and that it is a separate thing to Paradise Lost, which was announced a few years ago. We're working on Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's being written right now. I think this is a missed opportunity to not have it be connected, but he doesn't specifically state that it is not connected, but that it's a separate thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Paradise Lost focuses more on hundreds of years before Diana Prince is ever born or created, but that remains to be seen. In a surprise move that seemingly no one saw coming, James Gunn dropped what seems to be the third and final trailer for Superman. We get a little bit of hate from Lex and seemingly sounding more menacing, which I like, clearly a hater.
The most powerful being on planet Earth. We finally meet. Now, as planned, I'll destroy you. And of course, that reporter you always do interviews with. Who raised you as a child? I'll kill them too.
No matter what you do to me, Luther, your plans won't work.
Wrap it up.
Good luck with that.
Okay, so this clip right here, I kind of love the way it plays out, the punching, the slow-mo, but it looks terrible. It's so rubbery. It reminds me so much of the scene in The Flash when he's saving the babies in the beginning of the film. There are other clips as well in the Flash movie that this just looks exactly the same. It just kind of takes away from it. It almost looks AI generated. In Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, there is a tiny bit of that, but it is edited and blended so well with live action that you can't really tell. But this is like blatant and in your face. He's like so shiny and it just looks like he's made of rubber. It's just ugly. There's still time to polish it up, of course, but it's been confirmed that Gunn has delivered the final cut already. Unless they are still working on the VFX polishing up till the week before that, so that remains to be seen.
Make a move, Big Blue.
I love this interaction with Guy stepping up to Superman. Guy would think he could fight Supes. Although one of Supes' weaknesses is magic, and the Green Lantern ring is said to have magical properties, but we will see if that's true in this universe. I love that he calls him Big Blue. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Alright, I've got no idea what is happening here, but it looks like Metamorpho is somehow involved, or maybe either saving or strangling Superman, and you can see Superman holding his son, baby Joey, but I love the imagery and colors here. Definitely will be an interesting scene.
Buckle up.
This battle here is going to be interesting to see. We can see Ultraman is fighting without his mask, so who could this be? It also looks like they are fighting in this pocket dimension. I've heard all about this seemingly meta-human prison that Lex creates in this pocket dimension, which lends to the idea of Lex being a sorcerer of science.
They chose him. Let them die.
Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
This was one of my biggest fears and gripes with this trailer, and most of what I've been vocal about on Twitter when it comes to Gunn. This feels so out of place. It reminds me of that scene in Justice League.
I take it back. I want to die.
It seems to be in the same pocket dimension, and what likely looks like a pretty serious battle. There's no need to have this exchange for a comedic moment. For what? And that delivery is just so awkward and cringe. I am really hoping there's an alternate take, and I'll even eat my words if it doesn't come off as bad when it's happening in real time, as this is being taken out of context. So we will see, but it's just so cringe. This looks pretty dope, I can't lie. Definitely something we haven't seen before, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this unfolds and takes place. But are these human soldiers? Is he just killing them? I feel like maybe they're robots, which is fine, and I wouldn't even mind if he just straight up killed these dudes, but come on. Don't complain about Zack Snyder changing Superman's morals, which works in Man of Steel, and then applaud this. That's just backwards behavior.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
I know this might look different in IMAX or on a big theater screen, but oh man, this looks genuinely terrible. He looks like he's stretching or being stretched. Back to the wonky rubber VFX look. It's an awkward pose and positioning. I mean, just look at this flying in Man of Steel. And compare it to this. That's over 10 years ago. It's just, this story has got to be insane and epic in order to forgive these faults, because this VFX is trash. They definitely have time to polish it up, but as I mentioned earlier, I think this is the final cut that was handed in by Gunn. So, all of this being said, I am cautiously optimistic, but it's difficult with everything we've seen and has been shown so far. I'm trying my very best to not let this discourage or disappoint me, so we will just have to wait and see what the movie ends up doing. That's all for this week. I will be keeping a close eye on anything new that is announced or revealed, as the marketing for Superman seems to be in full swing now. What do you think? Are you excited for the movie? Has anything deterred you from watching it? Are you more or less hyped? Please be sure to let me know down in the comments, or feel free to follow or @ me on Twitter to let me know what you think. Please like this video if you agree with what I feel and think, or if you disagree, please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be kept up to date with more DCU news and updates. Keep it heavy, stay nerdy.